In every town, city, state, and country, there is tons of history buried beneath the surface. But how much of that history do we really know? Is it important to know this history? There's a lot we can gather from simple research and figure out for ourselves what history means to us. This is the town of Miller Place. There are 12,016 people who live here. And as you can see, there are people on their bikes, just walking. There's a lot of daily life. But how many of these people know the history around them? This is the William Miller House, established in 1720. The Miller family were the first settlers in Miller Place back in the 1700s, which is where Miller Place got its name. The William Miller House is now home to the Miller Place Historical Society, which does its best to preserve and keep the knowledge alive about the history of Miller Place. Founded in 1974, the Historical Society purchased this house from Harry Millard, the last descendant of William Miller, in 1979. The William Miller House is a living museum that offers tours to residents for 4 months out of the year. In the following clips posted by the town of Brookhaven on YouTube, these are special inside looks into the William Miller House and all of the history being preserved. From old family rooms and parlors to an 1800s baby carriage, it is amazing to see such history embedded in a plain old house that I pass every day. Every day, I pass historical sites without even knowing it. Next up is the Daniel Hawkins House, another property acquired by the Historical Society. The Hawkins House was established in 1810. Daniel Hawkins came from Setauket, which was purchased from the Settlecott tribe in 1666. Hawkins' descendants owned this house until the late 1930s, which was then sold to the McCadden family from Brooklyn. The Hawkins House is now an archival library and exhibition space. There is so much history packed into only 2 historic buildings mentioned so far, but the whole town of Miller Place, especially the long strip of land now known as North Country Road, has historical sites on every corner. But here's the problem. Nobody knows about this history. People are either naive or ignorant of their town's history, and there is a disconnect. People such as myself drive and walk past these places every day without any knowledge or indication of any of the history. The Historical Society is one of 3 buildings with large signs that indicate the structure is of historical importance, but everywhere else there are small signs on structures, but they are either blocked by brush and trees, too small to read, or faded beyond recognition. It's no wonder people have no idea what's around them. But even if history was restored, how do you get people to care? In an effort to delve into the problem of ignorance to history, I conducted a survey to residents around town. They were asked 2 simple questions. Do you know your town's history? Is it important to know the history? Why or why not? As a result of this survey, there were 25 participants. More than half of participants said they did not know the history of Miller Place. A whopping 67% of people did not know the history of our town. However, almost every participant agreed that it is important to know the history of Miller Place. But once again, how do you get people to care? Overall, it was evident that there is a lack of knowledge amongst residents of Miller Place. But despite this evidence, a lot of people agree that it is important to know the history of where one lives. But there are many factors around Miller Place specifically that hide the historical significance, which does not help people learn about their environment around them. How can we overcome naivety and rebuild the community?